Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and knock this out real quick just so I can save it and put it on online and create a link for everybody who isn't here, which I do not blame anyone for not being here. Um, so I'll say first and foremost, I I had fun this season. It was fun getting to know the boys and getting to kind of challenge them with new roles and things that they may or may not have been accustomed to on other teams that they've played on. I thought we saw progress from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. I also thought that it showed a lot of areas of improvement for me as a coach and what we can focus on in these next 3 weeks as we get ready for the winter season and things that I can help each one of the boys individually on to just help them be a bigger part of the team and contribute a little bit more. So I'm extremely excited for the off season, get to work with some of the boys and do some stuff that I don't feel rushed to try to hurry and implement things when we have games that week. So having a few weeks without games will be really nice for me as a coach. It'll be nice for them, and we can kind of reflect back on the season and kind of lock in on some of the things that we know we need to get better at. Um, as far as the roster, we have a huge roster right now. We will most likely be adding a few more players to the team because of football ending. Um, I know some of the boys have told me that they have friends that play that are getting done with volley or getting done with football and they want to bring their friends to practices and things. I know I've talked to some of the parents that have also said they know of other kids in our grade that could potentially contribute to the team. And so um, I think what we will see is an influx of new kids coming in, which could create a roster big enough to justify creating two teams. I'm not a huge fan of rosters any bigger than what we have now. So the thought of having three, maybe even four new kids coming in that want to play um, makes me kind of really want to split the team. I know that Paxton, who's playing football, he's he came to tryouts. We told him that we wanted him on the red team and they accepted the role. And so his dad has actually been to a couple of our practices and he's expressed interest in coaching the red team. I would still coach the gold team, but I do think that it would be beneficial for a few players to be double rostered. When we double roster players with legacy, we kind of try to keep them in the same age group. Obviously, sometimes we have to double roster kids and play them up, but for our age group, ideally, there's a few guys that I think could benefit from being on the gold team and still playing in their current roles, but also I think they could benefit from being double rostered on the red team where they may play a bigger role with guys that may still be kind of learning things and figuring things out. I always think guys that are kind of passive and a little more tentative to be vocal on a team with other gold level players could benefit from playing on a red team and being more of a leader, being kind of more experienced and having a different role. And so as we start getting feedback and input from some of these football kids, and we know who's coming in for fifth grade. I'll talk to the parents of the new kids. I'll talk to the parents of the kids that we want to double roster. And then if we do ultimately end up in a red team, gold team split, I kind of explain the benefits of that to the parents of on both sides. Smaller rosters, more playing time, different roles. I just think there's a lot of benefits in some of our guys being double rostered. I've kind of talked to some of the parents already about that, but we'll kind of dive a little bit deeper into that over the next week or two as we start getting the football guys back. Um, Team builder was super fun when we went bowling. We'll definitely be doing a team builder every season. So that was our fall team builder. Because winter splits into two parts. So there's your November, December winter, and then there's your January, February into March winter season. Historically, we've only done one team builder in the winter just because it's all considered winter. Um, but I have a couple of ideas, kind of like holiday parties, Christmas parties, white elephant gifts, let the boys just buy little goofy things and pull names and just kind of have fun like that. I have a little clubhouse at my apartment. It's far, but I think there's a few other places closer to where we practice. And there is a little meeting room where we practice, like a little conference room, party room thing that we can get access to. So I think for winter one and winter two, we'll do a team builder on each one, especially if we get new guys that come in and these new guys are still getting used to their teammates and things like that. I think it'd be fun to just include them into a team builder. So just expect two team builders. As we start getting our football guys in, we'll kind of start acclimating them, getting them figured out in practices and things like that. If you, as parents, have nephews, if your sons have friends that may have been playing baseball or football that are interested in playing basketball, um, I think Corey and I did the math, and I think four more players would give us a pretty even split. I think we're right around 10 players, knowing that Paxton and one other football kid are coming in. And so I think if we got four more kids and we could split into two smaller groups of seven, that would be ideal, and that would get more playing time for guys that are kind of thrown into the rotation of everybody being on one team. So um, that's that. I don't really have anything else. I know a few people haven't done their winter one league payment yet. I'll send out messages on GroupMe for those if you haven't done them. Other than that, I didn't really have a ton of stuff. I just wanted to let you guys know I had a bunch of fun with the boys. I'm excited to have this off season where we can work on some more specific things and kind of start chipping away at some of our areas of improvement. And so I know there's only three of you guys here. So I'll kind of open it up to you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask whatever. Other than that, feel free to shoot me a text or whatever other method of communication you'd like, emails, texts, direct messages, carrier pigeons, telegrams, whatever you like. So if any of you guys have questions, feel free to fire them off.
Yeah, fresh out of carrier pigeons over here, but just curious what your threshold is for splitting the team in terms of guys. Like, is it 12? Is it 13? Is it 14?
So in an ideal situation, I'd like to split at 14. I think anything less than that puts us into a six-man roster. And then you see stuff happen like with what happened to Bo. And if we had a six-man roster and we lose one guy, then we're playing five guys the whole game. they get tired, they get sloppy, just injuries and family things and other factors that are out of our control will happen. And a 5-man roster with a sixth guy getting hurt or spraining an ankle or missing a game for a family vacation kind of puts us into a really tight spot when we don't have any bench. I think if we can get to 7 and we can have a couple of guys that can play multiple positions, that's ideal. But I think if we get to 14 total, then I'd feel good about a 7-7 split, or ideally if we get to 12 or 13 and we can double roster a couple kids. I think 7 bodies on a team is the least I'd like to have. Um, but managing 8 or 9 guys in one game, it's hard. I mean, it's not impossible, but I want guys to be on the court more. I think practice is wonderful, but you got to put those things into game situations, and a 7-man roster where everybody's playing a lot versus a 9-man roster where guys are on the bench for longer stretches. I I'd kind of push towards a 7-man roster. So I guess the answer is the goal would be a 7-man roster. So if we got to a point where we did have to double roster 1 or 2 guys, but we could have 7 here and then we could have back-to-back games and maybe, a starter on a red team became a bench guy on a gold team or something like that, that would be ideal. But if we could get 14 and we could just go 7-7 with no double rosters, that would be the ideal roster for me. Then that way we wouldn't have to worry about, a guy that plays a lot of minutes on one team not being fresh for his second team, or I don't want to get into a close game and have a guy have to play a lot in a gold game and then turn around and have a back-to-back in a red game and not have the energy to play hard in his second game. So in theory, I'd love to have 2 teams, 7 to 8 guys on each team, and then not have to double roster any. But it's hard to get new guys at this stage because guys have been going to tryouts and getting acclimated to their teams and stuff. So it's not like there's a ton of kids that are out there trying to find teams, but I'm hoping that if we can find a handful and they fit into our red team or our gold team skill wise, then I'd love to have 14 with no double rosters. So if you know anybody or if you got any your friends have any kids, feel free to shoot me a text and let's figure out how we can get them to come to practice and kind of do a impromptu workout or something like that.
I think the only other question I had is we played that Invictus team, and there's a kid in our neighborhood that plays on that team. He's one of the ones that probably struggled a little bit more. But I'm trying to understand, like, is it worth having him come out, or are we looking for someone that's probably a little bit better than the junior jazz skill level, which is where I'd probably put him at right now?
I mean, honestly, I would say talk to them and just kind of see how they feel about where they're at and are they open to other options. At the end of the day, the split to work in an ideal situation, we'd have to add red team players and gold team players for it to work. So, I mean, if he's a kid that wants to play and the parents are open to, a different program and different coaching and maybe a fresh start in a different role, I would still encourage you to just kind of set a feeler out there and see how they're feeling about their current team and the current program that they're in, and kind of go that route and see if they're open to exploring another option, then yeah, I definitely would say if they're open to it, get his parents' number and or have him shoot me a call or a text or something, and we could bring him in and have him work out. And if he's one of the Invictus guys, then maybe we lean a little more towards the red team than the gold team. But I think some of the guys that initially came in as red team guys really progressed over the season. And so, I mean, hopefully if we can have a similar level of progression with some Invictus kids or some other kids who may not be having a great experience, then yeah, I'm definitely open to bringing in those that level of player just to see if we can help them out a little bit more and see what we can do for them.
I don't have a question, just a comment. Thanks for everything that you're doing. And if you need any help with any of the parties or team builders, I'm definitely willing to help. I know you have a lot on your plate and everything you're juggling. So delegate to me if you need any help with team building parties or whatnot.
Yeah, I would love that. I have ideas, but then when it's time to put the ideas into motion, I kind of stutter and don't really know which direction to go to start trying to piece things together. But yeah, I'll definitely shoot you a text and bounce a couple ideas off you and see if you could help just kind of with some of the behind the scenes stuff to get at least one of our parties figured out and organized. And yeah, that'd be wonderful to have you help out. So I'll definitely touch base with you for sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Um, I will, it takes the download is pretty quick, so it'll probably take 15 to 20 minutes for me to download the this part and then upload it into the YouTube thing. So here by probably 9 o'clock, I'll have that uploaded. I'll put that online and then I'll just put a message in the group me for the parents and they've missed it and let them know that it's on there if they want to go back and watch it. So other than that, thanks for jumping on again. Sorry about being on late, but yeah, like I said, it wasn't going to be a super long call today. So I will get everybody up to speed with this. I know some of the kids are out of town for fall break this week. So if the boys are in town, we're going to have a couple fun practices where we're going to do a quiz and some other stuff to kind of refresh their brains on the plays, and we're going to start learning a few more baseline inbound plays and some other stuff. So if the boys are in town and they can be at practice, have them there. If they're out of town, then we will see them next week. And other than that, thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys for jumping on.
Thank you.